Welcome back to this year's second S1S session. To the ones, and to everyone who's it's their first S1S session. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy it. And to everyone at home watching in Canada, the U.S., and everyone else, hope you like it. And hope you're working on your sessions as well. So, as you see here, guys, why do you make decisions? Why do you make decisions? Tell me.
Individuals in our own right.
Individuals in your own right? Okay, but what fuels your decisions? Aha. What do you think?
Opinions.
Opinions? Sure. Government regulation? Sure. What fuels your decisions?
Past experience.
Past experience, yeah. No need to put up, yeah.
Sometimes you have to. It's like for school and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Potential goals.
Potential goals. And say if you're in an argument or in a debate, what are you trying to do? What do you have in mind? Convincing, right?
Winning.
Winning. Okay, why? Yeah. Hey, so yeah.
Be the best version of yourself.
Oh, I like that answer. Yeah. Okay, sure. And you could also say that you're defending something, right? You're defending your ideas. You're defending your interests. So there's this basic principle that basically your interests or my interests are more important than someone else's interests. Right? That's like the basic principle. So, you've got, if you're faced with a dilemma, right? And you've got on one hand an action that's morally right, and on the other hand the action that's actually going to help you the most. What would you guys pick?
Help you the most.
Help you the most. Right. Why?
Good.
Because it's good for you. Not good in general, but it's good for you. Now, a lot of people would say it depends, right? It depends on each person, and especially it depends on each circumstance. Sure, we got rules, we got laws, but you need a judge to determine how to apply those rules and laws in a specific situation. Otherwise, well, you wouldn't need courts and you wouldn't need, judges and lawyers. You could just have an automated AI doing everything. So we've established this on a personal, local level. But what about on a global scale? How do you guys think this principle is applied in the world? Any ideas? Leaders? Yeah. You guys have probably all heard of Machiavelli, De Gaulle, Richard Nixon, Deng Xiaoping, Otto von Bismarck. These are big guys in history. And, well, okay, there's a few others that I really like, but we're going to get into them in a minute. But, these guys, they've all got one thing in common. They've all got one thing in common. And, actually, what do you guys think they all have in common?
They all led.
Okay, sure. But,
they're all men.
They are all men, sure.
They were faced with
dilemmas. Okay, and in the face of dilemmas, what did they say? What did they use? How did they think? Yeah.
They took decisions.
Decisions based on what?
Their interests.
Their interests, yeah. Yeah. One word, guys. Realism. Realism. Now, I'm not talking about, that realism that you're learning in French class or in literature or whatever. No, I'm talking about realism in the real. Yeah. I'm talking about being realistic. Okay. So these leaders that I showed you, they were realistic. They were not bound by general principles, but they were driven on a case-by-case basis. And today, we're going to be exploring none other than this realism put into action. Can we have a drum roll, please, guys? Realpolitik, guys. All right, cool. Now, do you got any German speakers? Any Deutsch? You're the only Deutsches here? All right, now, guys, can you tell me what Realpolitik means, or how do you pronounce it in Deutsch? Realpolitik. What do you think that means? Real politics. Okay. So real politics, but in particular, it's not just real like real life. It's realistic. Realistic politics, right? So that means that you're making practical decision making. You're not just saying, oh, I've got this general principle and I'm going to follow it all the time. No, I'm going to decide on a case-by-case basis. So historically, right, Realpolitik, it comes from these great thinkers from a bunch of thousands of years ago. You got Thucydides, with Thucydides' trap, previous S1S session, right? You've got Sun Tzu, we all know Sun Tzu. We've got Thomas Hobbes, all these big guys. But today, it was put into action by two guys that I really admire, which are right here. You got Mr. Henry Kissinger and Mr. Zbigniew Brzezinski. Yeah, I know, that's a tough name. He's Polish. So this guy was Secretary of State, and this guy was National Security Advisor. So there was huge figures in global politics. So, what do you guys think Realpolitik is all about? Yeah?
Well, if my history is correct, it's, I think Bismarck invented it.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, he was on
It
there.
was basically him switching sides every 2 seconds to see to like adapt to the situation.
That's a pretty good definition. Yeah, adapting. Any other ideas? Adapting. What else? What else comes to mind when I say realistic politics? Betraying. Sure. What do you guys think? Exactly. That's spot on. Acting for you, acting in your best interests. That's really what we're going to be talking about. Because, well, there's this quote I like. America has no permanent friends or enemies. It has only interests. So it's really a pragmatic approach to politics. You have national interests. You have practical outcomes that you're going to put on top. You're going to prioritize them over just ideology and morals, which are kind of vague in the day-to-day world. So, you've got these power dynamics that are a continuous power struggle between nations. You don't have strong and weak nations. You just have, at this moment in time, this situation. And I'm not going to adapt that or extrapolate that decision-making to another situation. It's all separate. So yeah, ethics are not really considered here, right? So they take a back seat for strategic interests to really take the front seat. And so yeah, it's really a competitive space. You have to make uncomfortable choices in Realpolitik, and you have to protect your own national interests. You have to emphasize the uncertain nature of global politics. It's about strategic outcomes, right? And it's about, once again, I'm going to emphasize this, the supremacy of national interest in a world where power finally directs and dictates all the relations and the connections in our world. So there are a few foundational principles, right? There's state centrism. Now, obviously, that just means that states are the most important guys out there. Then you got anarchy, right? So that's the international system is deemed to be anarchic. So you've got no one actor that exists above other states that is capable of regulating their interactions, but no, states, they've got to arrive at relations with other states on their own, right? It's not being dictated to them by someone else or someone else that controls them that's more powerful, no. And so there's this constant antagonism, right? You've got this word antagonistic or, antagonist in stories, but in the real world, what you're saying is that there's always going to be an enemy out there, there's always going to be a friend out there, but they're not always going to be the same. They're going to switch up all the time. Then you've got egoism, which, may sound immoral, but once again, this is not about ethics or morality. This is about, how to gain power in global politics. So all states, they have to pursue their own self-interest, not someone else's. And then you got power politics, which is what I've been talking about. States, they need to build up their military, they need to build up their power, their strength, their hard strength and soft strength as well, to make sure that they're the alpha dog out there. So yeah, this comes from Thomas Hobbes, I mentioned. This comes from real guys in the real life, like, Bismarck, you mentioned, all the people I showed up there. So yeah, people basically, they're not driven by general ideas. They're driven by detailed and specific analyses of real situations. So people depend on themselves. They're driven by a desire to gain more influence, more power. And they're also kind of scared of other people. It's a competition. It's a constant competition. So I want to hear your guys' opinion on this. Do you guys think that human nature, the fact that it's so present in global politics, global relations, do you think that's a blessing or is it a curse? Should we have, more humanity, which could entail egoism, or should we kind of remove that?
I think we should add more of it.
Okay.
So that we save more people.
All right. Any other ideas except Virgil? Yeah.
Well, eventually, if you only protect your own interests, you're going to end up with the entire world against you, and that can't really be good.
Perhaps, unless it's in your interests to gain the support of the rest of the world. But yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Any ideas? Arthur? What do you think? Should we have human nature in global politics, or is human nature useless? We got yeses. Do we have any no's? Yeah, no?
I think there should be a state.
Okay. So it's inevitable, yeah?
Yeah, but also you should have human nature because otherwise it's just
not fun?
It's not
It's
nice.
not human?
It's not nice. It's not living in a good environment.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, I agree.
Civilians.
That's a fair point, right? We're saying that we need it because, well, that's what makes it beautiful and fun and energetic and real and human. So in Realpolitik, the focus of the state is to gather more power, to ensure its safety, its proliferation, its flourishing in a world where, well, there's no higher power to control them and to guide the sort of international relations. Power here is mainly about having the resources to kind of force other states to do something that you want or to defend yourself effectively. So the state in realism is a single unit, okay? It makes decisions. It has actions with one single voice. And it's measured by its military strength, by its economic strength, by all these social strengths as well, which are really important. So states, they make decisions rationally. Right? We're saying realistic. And when you think of humanity, you probably don't think of being rational immediately because we have emotions, we have moods, we have different states of minds all the time that changes. We're not very rational beings. But Realpolitik says, well, cast that aside 1 second. Take away human nature, whether that's good or bad, in order to prioritize what's rational, what's best for you, and not for anyone else. So, according to people that believe in Realpolitik that I mentioned, there are no shared principles that guide the actions of all states. Each state has to be aware of the others that are surrounding her, her friends, her enemies, her, everyone that's around her, and they must use practical solutions to address issues as they come up every second. So there's this uncertainty about intentions. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what anyone is going to do. All I know is what I can do to counter your actions. Okay? Let's look at a particular case study, the US of A. So the concept of American Realpolitik, it comes from the 1960s with, once again, these two guys. We got Big Henry K and this Big, and these two guys, they were really tough. They were a dynamic duo under Jimmy Carter and Richard Nixon. And so it was during, if you remember, the 1960s. What was going on with the U.S.? What were they? Cold War. Thank you. You guys heard of this? What's up? Yeah. You guys heard of this thing called McCarthyism? Probably you have, but McCarthyism? No?
Do not like the color red.
Exactly. Better dead than red. That's what they're saying. Is that someone else? Okay. So you got these McCarthyistic ideas. So you're saying, okay, communism bad, capitalism good, and you're saying you have to contain it. We've all seen this in history class. We know this. But what is actually interesting is what these guys brought to the table. Because they thought that, well, sure, we don't like communism, but the fact that you don't like something is a general principle. You can't let that invade your decisions on a day-to-day basis. You have to say, well, okay, in this situation, sure, I might not like communism, but let's put that aside for a second. What is in my best interest? Maybe at some point, well, you have to collaborate with people that you don't like in order to get where you want to be. That's what they're putting out there. And so they basically the U.S. they had two main enemies. They had Russia, we know that, or the Soviet Union, but they also had China. China less than today, but still a bit more. And they were a rising power. And the big thing I want to emphasize here is that Henry Kissinger in particular, what he did a historic thing. He did the peace or diplomacy with China for the U.S., which was never seen before because China was a rising nation. Sure, it was poor. There was Mao Zedong. There's all this chaos and stuff. But what's up?
Can you Nixon go to China?
Yeah, Nixon went to, it's a very interesting point. I think they're discussing I think they're maybe in China. I don't know. But anyway, but I think they're discussing going to China. So Kissinger, you think of Realpolitik, you think of Kissinger. It's not just me, it's really everyone. Because he never really used the term Realpolitik, but he acknowledged its application in both liberal and realist thinkers, yeah? Hey, you don't have Atelier Unite, end it early? Oh, cool, great, fantastic. So we're talking about this theory called Realpolitik. So to summarize it, just settle down, it's fine. To summarize what we've been saying is basically that it's this theory in global politics that you cannot base your decisions on general ideas, general principles. You have to base it on case-by-case decisions. You have to be rational, take away all irrationality, and say, sure, maybe I don't like the communists, but that's not going to influence how I make decisions. Bye, Solal. All right, it's fine. All right, so there was this basically, the US, they backed a lot of authoritarian regimes during this time, which had very poor human rights, ways of respecting human rights. But why did they do that? Well, they did that to broaden their national control, their national objectives. Like, for example, regional stability. You want to have the American influence in the region. well, you got to do what you got to do. That's kind of what Realpolitik is saying.
And oil.
And oil, okay? So this continued, obviously, after the Cold War. What are some examples of America giving freedom to some nations? Yeah? Afghanistan, another one? Iraq. Exactly.
And half the world, like,
Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, and so, yeah, Vietnam was a bit before, but, and in the 2000s, there was this term, what's up? Okay. I don't know if you guys heard of the axis of evil. Axis of evil, yeah? So,
Iran.
yeah, it was Iran, it was Iraq, it was North Korea, and it was basically saying, a way to say it was George Son, the junior, he was saying, we don't like these guys, okay? They're the bad guys, we got to work against them, but that was very anti-Realpolitik. These guys would never have said that. They would have said, sure, you don't like them. I don't care. Is it going to help me to not like them in this deal, in this negotiation? If it is, fantastic, then I'm going to do that. But if it's in my best interests to, agree with these guys and agree with their theories, well, then I'm gonna support them. Now, let's look at another case study. Singapore. Anyone go to Singapore last year? I know you did. Anyone else? You did? You did? Okay, what do you guys think last year when you saw like the country? In what shape was it?
Hella rich.
Did you even go?
No.
Yeah, I know. Okay. It was hella rich, all right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, today this is how it looks today, but
They didn't do a very ethical stuff.
Sure. Now I'm gonna get into that. That's exactly the point that I want to emphasize. Alex, you put up a great point. You're saying that today they're somewhere good, but they did bad things to get there. Now I don't know if you guys know this very broad philosophical thing, but the ends justify the means, right? We did that in debate. Yeah. No, semifinal. I did that, yeah. That was fun. So, yeah, the ends justify the means. So these are the ends, the so-called ends, good ends. And you said, well, they did bad things to get there. That's very true. And actually, you guys know this huge figure in not only Singaporean politics, but in global politics, Lee Kuan Yew. Maybe I'm butchering it. But what he did, and he acknowledged it a few years ago, he said, sure, I did bad things. I put people in jail without giving them a trial. I did really bad things. But I managed to get Singapore from this, bad place, and not to use a bad word, and he brought it to this great, flourishing, haven of business. Yeah.
I mean, it's great, but like, it's not perfect at all. Like, there's a lot of
Yes.
like,
Absolutely.
no, but like ecologically, it's like a disaster.
Yeah.
And there are like plenty of bad stuff.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
No.
But the principle is, what was the guiding principle behind his way of doing decisions? Pragmatism, being realistic, and and so he, that's what he prioritized. He didn't prioritize saying Singapore stands with America or Singapore stands with the West or whatever. No, he doesn't care about that. Sure, today Singapore stands with the West because the West gives him money, but tomorrow you don't give me no more money, I'm not standing with you. That's what basically they're saying. So yeah, he was a staunch proponent of Asian values, of Singaporean values, and he wanted to say that they're different from the other people. They're different from America. They're not just a puppet state. They have their own goals, their own interests that may diverge from America's. And some people say, that's what you've been talking about, that Singapore has now become a sort of an administrative state where there's a lot of power with the government, and there's been ideology and politics, they don't longer exist. Sure, you've got good ideas, but they don't care about it. The government does not care because the government is prioritizing practical matters. And as a people, well, we don't know those practical matters. We're not technical people. We know ideas. We have big ideas. We have broad values. And so that kind of creates a chasm between the people and the government, which is, bad, obviously, if you want to be loved by your people. And so what do you guys, just to summarize a bit of these two case studies, what was the one thing that was driving the decisions of America with big Henry Kissinger and Zbigniew Brzezinski and Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore? One word. Say it with me.
Efficiency.
No. Realpolitik. Thank you. Okay, Realpolitik. Yeah, so, hang on. I'm getting a call. Yeah? Yeah? I'm on the phone with the what house? What? Okay, right away. Yeah, I'll tell the presidents now. Sure. Guys, something bad has happened, guys. Something real bad has happened, guys. Something real bad. Mr. Presidents, presidents, you're needed in the Situation Room. You are needed in the Situation Room, guys.
Crisis committee.
Yeah. You're needed in the Situation Room, guys. There has been a crisis, a huge crisis, and as Secretary of State, it is my duty to inform you all, the presidents of the United States, what is happening so you can decide what action to take. 3 hours and 42 minutes ago, the poor nation of Kissingeria had a revelation. They had a big revelation that there was, actually, hang on. Yeah. They had this big revelation, and you might have guessed what it is. They have found a group of Kissingerian engineers off the coast of the sea, the Democra Sea. They found this rare, ultra rare element and mineral that was ultra valuable, worth over 20 times the price of diamond, which is stephenstemium. Very valuable mineral. And there's a bunch of countries across the world that want to trade with them. They want to get this money. And so in the last few hours, there's been huge civil unrest in Kissingeria with mass protests, with riots, with deaths following the discovery of stephenstemium. So this weak government is unable to contain the situation. Okay, hang on. And so they're unable to contain the situation, and this leads to a huge power vacuum. And there are two other countries, neighbors of Kissingeria, which are Canada and Huntingtonia, which see strategic opportunities amidst this crisis. So, what are these strategies for now? What we think, right, because we're not in their minds, what we think is that Canada seeks access to the rare earth mineral, to stephenstemium, in order to boost its technological industry, and Huntingtonia aims to, just expand its influence. I'll give a bit of context in case you're not aware of these countries, which are very important, obviously, in the global stage. We've got pretty much Kissingeria. It's a small nation. It's resource rich, apparently, right now. We know that, but it was very poor, and it's always been poor. And it's got a weak military, weak economy, weak social infrastructure. And so they just discovered this huge deposit of a rare earth mineral. They just discovered stephenstemium, and they don't know what to do. Now they got this neighbor, Canada, and Canada is democratic, economically prosperous, militarily powerful, not too powerful, but still up there. They value human rights, they value freedom, they value democracy and international law, but they're also energy dependent. They need energy. And then you got Huntingtonia, and Huntingtonia basically, they're authoritarian, guys. They don't care about no human rights. They don't care about no democracy, no freedom. No, they want that big military force, that money, that power, that influence, and they're not bound by democratic principles. Okay, so that's the stage right now, and Kissingeria, what they're trying to do is to remove its population's panic, right? So they want to start mining stephenstemium as soon as possible. Huntingtonia is, making moves to do some things. I'm not going to say in detail because it's classified. But and Canada, and Canada is also deciding its course of action as we speak. The presidents across the nation are deciding it. And in fact, the CIA says we only have 15 minutes until a civil war breaks out. So we have to pick our action right now. We have to pick our action right now.
I have one. How about we...
Hang on. Now, each of you guys, how many are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to do three or something? Something like that. Each of you guys are going to represent Kissingeria, Canada, and Huntingtonia. You guys have to represent them, and you have to decide what course of action you're going to take. So, now before you go into groups, so first decide maybe groups of 3. Let's do groups of 3. And separate yourselves. You're going to have maybe 1 or 2 minutes to think about your course of action, and then you can start talking. Now, before we get started... Oh, hang on, my phone's ringing again. Yes? Mr. National Security Advisor. Yeah, Jake Sullivan. What's up? Oh, you want me to let the presidents know of one word? You want me to remind them of one word they should keep in mind? Oh, what is that word? Realpolitik. Oh, interesting. Thank you, Mr. National President. Okay, so let's get to it, guys. Come on, you got 15 minutes. Come on. Okay, yeah. So first get into groups. Then I'm going to say.
No,
One of you has to go with that.
But look, 3, 3, 4.
Yeah, that works.
Perfect.
Is that okay for you?
Okay, just give out the thing.
It's fine. Okay, are we good? All right. So, what's up? Haha.
Okay, give us
What do you want to be?
Can we be the authoritarian?
Yeah,
I
Hunting Tony.
want
to be the friendly one.
Friendly one? Okay, you're gonna be the mean one.
Hunting Tony.
All right. Hang on.
Oh, come on, Mickael.
That's a fair point.
I'm gonna be step inside too.
Huntingtonia, Canada, and Kissingeria. All right, you guys have 3 minutes. Come on, let's get to it.
Operations, and then we say that we will fund all of their mining operations in return for 2% of their capital. No.
Right. Huntingtonia.
Instead of like being able to mine it ourselves. And because we're like we were gonna steal everything.
Okay, interesting. Okay, you're gonna have to present in a few minutes.
Oh, that's fun.
So, because this is the UN now. Yeah. Sure. Oui, you guys know, donc vous êtes Kissingeria, ok? Donc ça veut dire que donc vous avez tout le minéral stephnicium. Huntingtonia is damn strong. Oh, compared to Kissingeria, it's like
Do we
like the U.S. against Iran. It's not.
Oh, it's that bad.
but it doesn't mean anything because the U.S. didn't win. You know, it didn't win a clear-cut war against countries that are weaker. You know,
No,
they just have more power.
Yeah, but that's a neighbor. They can just throw a dead ass invasion.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
They're authoritarian.
Okay. Okay, yeah, guys, you can establish relations between yourselves. There are diplomatic channels. Allez, Théophile, allez, mon gars. Yeah, there are diplomatic channels. Yeah, there are diplomatic channels. Come on, Lily, come on. Yeah, no, yeah, you have to try to manipulate them, you know? Guys, chill.
Private relationship.
Chill, what are you doing? That's like too private.
Yeah, no, this is a two-way communication. You guys are not invited.
That was really rude. Okay.
Oh, damn. Alright, guys. Okay, let me get
Maybe the US.
Sure, I'm
selling everyone.
Sure, I'm Tony Blinken. So, guys, you don't need their damn help, all right? Sure, they're gonna run together, but you're damn strong. Yeah, the military. You want Steph and Stemmy? You kind of do. You want money. And think about it. You want money? Invade them. But obviously, invade them. But what about? I'm the U.S. I'm not gonna allow you to invade it, right? Unless you give me something in return. But or you present it as something that's not invading. Yeah, exactly. No, or what are you going to say to all the millions of people in the world? They're going to say, oh, Huntingtonia bad, they're invading people. No, you got to disguise it as something that's not invading.
We're all military. We're all
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, what if you're Russia and you want to invade Ukraine? Like, it's a special military operation. You know, it's not invading.
No, we're going to call it a special military operation.
Exactly, things like that, okay? You have to present it. You have to present it in a minute.
We discovered that the mineral is actually radioactive. Yeah, it's probably Would that be stupid?
Maybe, I don't know.
Taxé.
Non,
pas 80%. 10%.
And analyze the mind.
Attends, d'abord, vous
First nation presenting their diplomatic proposal is going to be Kissingeria. Give it up for them. Let's hear it. Make it short. 1 minute.
Give us the resources.
Okay, whatever. Come on.
We have made the decision to not share any material with both of you. Instead, 2 hours ago, all of our minerals has been exploded. There is nothing left.
How do you know that's true?
The mines are no longer existing.
Genocide.
There is no.
I'm getting contradicting calls from the CIA head security council. So who should we believe, the CIA or the Kissinger minister?
The only thing that has been
I
kept
believe in mass
is
genocide.
10% of the minerals which have already been sold to the black markets. So there is not 1
So
gram.
you're admitting you sold to the black market on an
No, back and forth.
There is not
Get your confidence.
one.
This is illegal. This is illegal.
There is not
All right.
1 gram of stepping stenium left in Canada. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In Kissinger.
Now, the following delegates of the nation of Canada, please give it up for
Okay, folks,
fellas. The stage is for Canada.
we believe that the state of Kissinger has committed a war crime. We believe that this poor nation that needed to help its citizens has just destroyed the last sliver of hope to solve famine and mass poverty in the country. And so we believe that this cannot be forgiven. Following this and the mass protests, riots, and chaos in Kissinger, we believe that the government of Kissinger cannot govern its people. It is in an incapability to do so, and therefore we will begin invading said country and securing any form of governments and industries to provide and protection for its people.
Thank you.
And to address my fellow countries, we believe that war is not a good idea. This country of Kissinger has practically no army, and we believe that war will only spread further poverty and famine, and we are willing to...
Thank you. Thank you, delegate of Canada. Thank you very much. And last and least, and most definitely not least, what are you doing?
Like and subscribe!
We have the delegation of Huntingtonia. Yeah, really want to copy. You got no allies. Come on.
Okay, so
Huntingtonia, the set is yours.
we are not suggesting war. We do not want war. Our military is strong, and we are offering a military alliance with Kissinger, where we would provide our military support in exchange for
Being able to mine your mines and to see if any stepping stemia is left there.
as well as that we
CIA
have
doesn't say the same
yes,
thing.
as well as that we have
That country on the you're basically saying
Yes.
that the country
Yes.
No.
Okay.
We have more. Our country of Huntingtonia has way more resources than they do, and we will have the scientific capacity to check the mines and make sure that they're telling the truth and that they haven't missed out on
If
something
they
accidentally.
don't want us
We
to
believe
mine.
we're acting
Accidentally.
against
Thank you,
No, but
delegate.
we would
We
believe
against the good of the people.
we believe stepping stemia
Order.
may be nauseous to human beings, so we need to go check if it's nauseous or not.
Thank you.
We would like to make sure that your country is taking advantage of all of the materials that it has. We would like to work for the good of your country.
And that it is not endangered by the presence of radioactive.
Okay, Michael.
Yep. What? It's all right. It's fine. That's fine. Delegates of Huntingtonia, thank you very much. Well, no, is that on it?
Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to say, like and subscribe, and
So it
it's
would be in
terrific,
your
isn't
best interest to let us mine your mines.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, delegates. You may be seated.
Elizabeth.
Oh, I've received another call. Oh no! I've received delegates of Huntingtonia, Canada, Kissinger. We got an announcement. We got an urgent call, imminent call here. I have news of a random lone Navy SEAL launching an invasion of Kissinger. Yeah, thank you all for this. Have a fantastic day.
We're democratic. Don't shoot us.
Thank you very much. See you next week, guys.